Welcome to the official Finovate podcast with Greg Palmer. In 2007, Finovate set out to create a dynamic fintech showcase featuring live 7-minute demos. For more than a decade, our global event series has brought together tens of thousands of people from across the fintech spectrum to see cutting-edge technologies. Now you can find out what goes on behind the scenes as key influencers and innovators share the stories that they don't get to tell you from stage. Here's a glimpse of what we have in store this episode.
A core part of our technology is how do we find, there are actually 15,000 John Wilson in the US. Think about it, 15,000. How do you now then know exactly which one is the one that you're trying to serve?
And now your host, Greg Palmer.
Thanks for tuning in to the Finovate podcast. This is Greg Palmer. Today, we're continuing our discussions with Finovate Fall's Best of Show winners. The next company we'll be speaking with is Owl.co, and they did something which is historically very difficult to do, and that is win Best of Show with a compliance and KYC play. Historically, those have not necessarily been the biggest crowd pleasers on stage, but I think their technology is really impressive, and the way that they were able to put together a story is also really impressive. So let's go now to the interview and hear more about Owl. Hey, welcome to the podcast. Today I'm chatting with Sean and Vahid of Owl.co. Owl won Best of Show at Finovate Fall 2019 in New York just a couple of weeks ago. We're chatting to them today about their technology and about some of the pieces behind it. So first off, I'll turn it over to you guys and let you give just a quick overview of Owl for people who weren't able to see your demo in New York.
Absolutely. So Owl is a customer insights engine that helps financial institutions better know their customers and in return, better serve them also. We aggregate data from tens of thousands of different databases and build a profile of the customer so that the financial institutions can A, onboard their customers faster and with less friction, B, perform better KYC and AML practices, and C, detect fraud before it becomes costly.
So I don't know if you guys know this, but I think it's pretty much agreed by everyone that fintech compliance and KYC are pretty much the most exciting aspects of fintech. And no, actually, that's not historically been the case. But it is actually really interesting that you guys have been able to create a really compelling demo that resonated with the audience in an area that a lot of other companies have kind of struggled to make it stand out. So what do you think was your strategy in how to make the material more engaging and how to really create that connection with the audience?
Maybe I'll take this one. I'll go quick and Sean, you add it. The reality was we spent a lot of time actually brainstorming how do we make it fun? And then we started looking at the stats, and the reality is we picked a name for our demo, John Wilson, that is a very common name in the US. And everyone then resonates with the complexity of dealing with someone who is John Wilson. And if someone watches the demo, they'll see how we uniquely identify that individual. A core part of our technology is how do we find, there are actually 15,000 John Wilson in the US. Think about it, 15,000. How do you now then know exactly which one is the one that you're trying to serve? Which one is the one that you want to make sure that is not part of any sanction list or bankruptcy list or any adverse media. That story came out to talk about there are 5 million Johns, 1 million Wilsons, together there are 15,000, and our technology really helps you identify that one John Wilson, which the caveat is he's a criminal, and identify him.
I think it's something that a lot of people can identify with, certainly people with common names. You understand how many people out there share your name. And actually, if you Google Greg Palmer, I'm not even close to the first person who comes up on Google. It's a really common name. But I think that really speaks to the challenge of it. And obviously, it's not just kind of the regulatory angle. There's also this sort of positive opportunity there as well, that by understanding your customers better and being able to identify exactly who they are, where they're coming from, you're better able to serve those customers. So can you talk a little bit about not the piece that you have to have from a compliance side, but the piece that you should have in just the terms of doing business better?
Absolutely. So as we showed in the demo, I think, the reason why it resonated so well, unlike the other vendors where they give you a yes or no when you give them a name, we actually provide all the data. We show you how we came up to the scoring and the mechanism. So that really opens up, shows you how we can better serve the customer. So to give you an example, with the largest reinsurer in the world, one of our clients, we took a onboarding process of selling life insurance that used to take 17 to 22 minutes, and we shrunk it down to 3 to 4 minutes. And that speaks volumes about how much the aggregated data that we provide in a compliant manner can help remove all the redundant questions that the financial institutions ask today. So those forms that you're familiar with, the long, if you want to get life insurance or a credit card or a loan even, they're long, lengthy forms that we now shrink with a few questions, and we get the customer to confirm the details that we have on them, and then away they go.
Well, and that user experience, that ease of use side of it is certainly something that is important. And obviously it's not just on the customer side as well. I was really struck watching your demo. The way that you've designed it looks really good. The pieces that are designed to be used by the back end employees of financial institutions or insurance companies have the same kind of feel that you might find in a more forward facing fintech solution. Did you guys draw inspiration from other areas of fintech or anybody in specific that kind of helped you to put that visual side of things together?
So one thing I would say is that our chief product officer, who is our co-founder to Sorab, is an amazing designer. So a lot of the great things that you see there, kudos to him. But more importantly, I think the way that we started the business was doing a lot of these use cases that Sean was talking about. It's like, how can we really change the customer experience? And then it was all about asking less questions, personalization to push the right product. So we started with doing a lot of that UX, and then our clients they saw the value on the core technology that we had, which is like building this 360 view. And then they said, "Oh, can you actually now help us with some of these backends?" That focus on customer centricity that we had on onboarding a customer faster and better kind of got translated into this backend design that we have. So we are now seeing those agents as our customers, and we want to make sure that they actually do their job in the fastest possible. And the only way to make it fast for them to approve a file is by making that UX user-friendly. So that's how we managed to bring this down for one of the top 3 largest stock exchanges. From hours, it took them 6 hours for some of these checks. And with our solution, they're doing it in minutes, in less than 15 minutes.
I think the importance of taking care of your customers and creating an experience that's really easy, really intuitive is vital, no matter what aspect of fintech you're looking at. And I think this is something that a lot of other fintechs can draw from your example, even if you have a back end piece, making sure that it looks really good and it's really easy to use, because ultimately those are your customers. That is your customer experience. Now, one question I have, you guys used the college admission scandal in your demo, which I thought was great. I thought that resonated really well with the audience. Don't know if you know this, but there's actually going to be a Lifetime movie about that college admission scandal where we're going to really get some nitty gritty from it, and you'll get some the background story there. Do you think they know the KYC pieces that you guys know about everybody who's involved there?
Let's hope not.
I mean, it's Lifetime. I'm sure they're going to do great work, right?
Yeah.
But I trust you guys will go ahead and see it at any rate, right?
Exactly. We'd love to. Yeah, we can't wait.
Excellent. Well, obviously, aside from going to the movie and checking it out, what's next for Owl? What do you guys see as kind of your next few steps after being on stage at Finovate?
Absolutely. So now that we're a Canadian company, we're with offices in Vancouver and Toronto, and we have clients in the US. But generally, our pipeline right now, we have most of the top banks and insurers in Canada. And what's next is, after this round of fundraising, we're raising our Series A today. Once this is closed, hopefully soon, is we're going to be moving to the US. We've already got an office in New York. So next year is all US. So we're coming to your hometown.
So our technology is global. We're going to conquer your world too.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that's great. And Finovate's all over the world. Just saying, we've got events all over the world. We're ready wherever you guys are.
We'll be there.
Oh, there we go. That's our time for today. Well, it's been a pleasure chatting with you both. And for those of you listening, I would highly recommend checking out their video. You can find it at finovate.com/videos and see exactly what their 7 minutes look like and how they were able to resonate with the audience. So, gentlemen, thanks again for joining us, and good luck in your ambitions to conquer the world. I say this a lot, but I really do think it's worthwhile to check out the demo video to learn more about what they do. Obviously, you heard a little bit about the technology that underpins everything that they're working on, but actually seeing it for yourself is very important. And of course, this is really the essential value proposition of Finovate as a whole, the ability to come and take a look and really see how that technology works. I think you'll be impressed by the user experience. I know our audience in New York certainly was. If you're interested in joining us at a future Finovate event, check out finovate.com for information on where we'll be and when. And don't forget that as a Finovate podcast listener, you are eligible for a 20% discount on future shows simply by entering the discount code Finovate Podcast. That's all for this week. We'll see you again after the Thanksgiving break.
Thanks for joining us on the Finovate podcast this week. Brought to you by the team behind Finovate and produced in association with Provoke Media. Make sure you tell your friends about the show, leave us a review on iTunes, SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to our show, and check out our upcoming events at finovate.com.